Here, some parents choose to establish their territory next to a coastal railway line. This home is rather noisy, and the chicks struggle to catch a morning snooze. Their parents constantly check in on these vulnerable chicks. They need to warm up in the safety of a small cave. Parents are also busy chasing away competition. But soon, this family home will hit morning rush hour. The sound and vibrations are too much to handle. So for these youngsters, it becomes a run and hide routine. The safety of the cave is much needed, as some above are also looking for breakfast. The noisy hide is just a temporary refuge, as parents are waiting for the low tide to start feeding the chicks. Last, a fresh worm heralds the beginning of breakfast, and the oyster catcher family is on the move. Not far away, there is another breeding pair. But after a few weeks, only one chick survives. Parents start the morning routine by first fencing off neighbors and then waiting for the low tide to expose breakfast for the hungry chick. Getting food from the rocks is a high-risk undertaking. And getting wet is part of the job. First delivery is a tasty mussel. Next on the menu, marine spaghetti. As the morning progresses, the chick is finally full and no longer comes out of the shelter. Not a worm goes to waste. Mussels are not the only ones that swarm over the shore. Bare Rock is a prime location along this cold coast, as food is abundant and the tides and waves always bring more to the millions of filter feeders. If there is no space, some animals build their own. These marine worms are master architects. All that they need is plenty of sand to build their intertidal empire. These reef worms build massive intertidal reefs of sandy tubes. These reefs can be up to 3 meters in diameter and half a meter high. They are built with several tons of sand. Each worm catches sand grains and cements them together to build their home tubes. The trumpet-like tubes are ridged, and this design helps with the concentration of food particles along the ridges, as well as the easy removal of waste by the fast currents. The dome shape of these tunnels allows water to flow smoothly and reduce drag. At the same time, it optimizes foraging for each worm in the colony. The large concentration of worms is aggressive, taking up a large space on the shore, suffocating everything that doesn't move out of the way. This large whelk is searching for a succulent worm found inside those sandy tubes. This hunter uses a powerful and liquid weapon, saliva, so acidic that it is able to dissolve the worm's protective sandy tubes to expose the inner, tasty flesh. These gigantic sandy castles are temporary, as the force of the pounding waves eventually erodes the smooth dome shape of the colony until the entire structure is destroyed. New larvae will settle nearby and a new colony will emerge. The cycle of building and destruction goes on as these marine worms need to live in the fast-flowing zone where there is plenty. The complex geology of the rocky shore along the South African coast creates a magical world. These are rock pools. They form a complete marine universe ranging from a large diversity of plants to unique inhabitants. These pools are constantly replenished and refreshed by the tides. Many creatures find refuge in sheltered rock pools. And not all dangers come from the ocean. For some, it may come from the sky. Spiky and rather threatening, these beautiful sea urchins have a sensitive skin that cannot cope with the excessive solar radiation. The solution is simple. Build an umbrella, and any material will do. This not only creates a much-needed shade for the owner, but also helps to conceal its presence. These rock pools have some unique and charismatic landlords. These are the rockfish. They spend most of their time in these pools resting on their pectoral fins, waiting for any morsel to be brought by the tides. Their markings and fin movements communicate their intentions. The females do not lay eggs, but undergo internal fertilization and give birth to fully developed juveniles, a remarkable adaptation to such a fast-moving environment. They are voracious and opportunistic and are part of the pool cleaning team. As in the African savanna, efficient scavengers keep these rock pools in good shape. These are delicate cushion stars that are mostly grazers, but can also enjoy some marine flesh. These snails are by far the most efficient cleaning team, and their noses detect minute amounts of chemical substances released from body fluids of anyone in trouble. These whelks move fast and are the marine hyenas of the rock pools. They come from all directions, and a limpet is no obstacle. In a few minutes, the flesh of the victim is quickly removed, using their powerful sucking proboscis, leaving only a clean shell. Legged predators are more conspicuous here. This is a carnivorous sea star, and it is a marvel of hydraulic engineering. Protected with a flexible armor, the sea star has hundreds of connected tubular feet that are controlled by water pressure and muscles, guiding it with a strong grip and controlled movement over the rocks. Most of their potential prey stays clear when the sea star is searching for food. Many can run at rather high snail speed. Moving south along the South African coast, the geology creates an ideal rocky shore. This is De Hoop Nature Reserve, one of the 21 marine protected areas along the South African coast. Washing down along the shore, the ocean carved the soft sandstone, forming a diverse and rugged shore with an abundance of intricate rock pools. As the tide drops, the flat, rocky shore is exposed, and for a few hours, the rock pools offer a sheltered and a calm environment. The rock pools create a wonder world with a diverse, intricate landscape, providing a home for many. It is here where the most intelligent and charismatic mollusk lives. The octopus. Related to limpets and mussels, this marine creature evolved into a superb hunter. Instead of a broad and flat foot, octopi have 8 dexterous tentacles armed with powerful suckers. The shell has been reduced to a minimum, and its fluid, rubbery body can squeeze into any crevice or even create its own home. The octopus's eyes are among the most complex in the animal world. An ambush hunter, they are master of camouflage and are able to learn very complex tasks. If hunting conditions are no good, they can simply move to the next rock pool, even if that involves getting out of the water. These shallow, rocky platforms are rich in food. Large seaweed beds grow in the abundant sunlight and form extensive patches along the shoreline. These are equivalent to the grasslands of the African savanna, and to see the grazers that live here, we need to wait for the tides to flood the shore. Hundreds of fish move into the shallow water to feed amongst the seaweed beds, one of the most productive areas of these sweeping shores. Many of these indigenous fish depend on these tidal shores to find food and shelter. But today, we see this tidal migration in action, since this area is a marine protected area and fish stocks are fully protected. Along the eastern border of the South African coast, the landscape changes dramatically. This is a lush coast with many rivers entering the Indian Ocean. This coastal landscape is the product of a much warmer ocean, thanks to the Agulhas current. The kelp forests, so typical of the cold Atlantic, can no longer survive in these warm and low nutrient waters. Here live a different set of organisms. Lower down the shore, there is a magical gathering of colorful algae and soft corals, taking advantage of the fast-flowing waters. Magnificent crabs find shelter and food here, and this female is carrying a mass of eggs. Sea urchins look more threatening here, and some also carry an umbrella. Filter feeder worms put on a magnificent feeding display. Further, higher up on the shore, large carpets of zoanthids, or colonial anemone-like creatures, cover the rocks. Each polyp forms an upright hollow column crowned by tentacles around the mouth. But, unlike anemones, each individual polyp is joined at the base by connective tissue. Their tentacles are able to capture minute prey, and they host microscopic symbiotic algae in their tissues that provide much of its nutrition, as well as their green to yellow color. These rather innocent-looking polyps are exposed, and it's easy to think that any intertidal predator can eat them at leisure. Recently, it was discovered that the mucus of these flower-like creatures contains a powerful poison called palytoxin. And this explains why zoanthids have few predators. If you eat this jelly, you die. Some innovative application in human medicine is now being developed from this potent toxin. This colorful spray of anemones looks similar to zoanthids, but they are a collection of individuals forming a formidable and delicate carpet of unmatched beauty on the rocks. They seem motionless, but each anemone feeds by capturing tiny creatures from the water as their moving tentacles open in a time-lapse sequence. Orange anemones do not live in such groups, but feed in a similar way. Grazers can be rather intriguing. This is a sea hare. In reality, a marine snail with just a remnant of a shell on its back, usually not visible. This rudimentary shell covers the animal's heart and gills. To breathe, water flows in from the front of the folded skin, over the gills, and out the back through the anus, which also discharges the creature's waste. The pulsating movement replaces the water and waste from the chamber as the snail moves. Two pairs of tentacles on the sea hare's head are the smelling organs which help it find edible seaweed. The one, closer to her mouth, can change shape from tube-like to a flat spade when foraging. Like the zoanthids, this naked snail is completely exposed, and it could become an easy morsel for any predatory fish or a crab. However, their tissues are loaded with toxic chemicals, and they are certainly not on the menu of any wary predator. More Alice in Wonderland meets the eye on this warmer shore. Here, colonies of sea squirt decorate the rock pools. They look like an underwater forest of blue lollipops. Sea cucumbers lick their tentacles to extract any captured food particles. Higher up on the shore live hardier inhabitants. These are oysters that need to take care not to dry out by being exposed during low tide. This they do by keeping their shells tightly closed. But in a few hours, the rhythm of the tides once again will inundate the exposed coast. Large schools of fish wait for the turn of the tides under the cover of rocky ledges. Soon, this shore is refreshed. The oysters have plenty of microscopic food brought by the fast-moving water, and fish will search for tasty pickings. The sweeping shores of the southern tip of Africa may have more relevance to humanity than previously thought. Large shell middens found along the west and south coast of Africa give new insight into the evolution of modern humans. It is well established that the modern human evolved from Africa, and new discoveries along the coast of South Africa indicates that people lived here at least 160,000 years ago. They already developed advanced techniques to produce sharp rock tools. The amount of shellfish found in these old middens reveals that our ancestors had a mostly marine diet harvested from this sweeping coast. And that may have contributed to the development of modern humans who eventually moved from Africa to the rest of the world. This narrow, rich, and violent band of the African coast could become one of the most relevant landscapes in the history of humankind.